really incredible testing, and the kids did a great job, and they are extremely proud of the academic success of our school. And I'm hoping that when we present this tonight, that we can talk a little bit about how we can get that information out into the public, because this success doesn't happen just because of our kids. It happens because of our parents and because of our school and our community that supports all of that. So I really think it's important that they can share in that celebration. So if we can just think about ways to get the information out, that'd be great. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, we're going to move on.
One more quick. Paul Manson again. I've kind of got a lot of this ball rolling, and I'm very aware that there are many, many good teachers. We really don't have a problem with the teachers in general. It's more about you guys and the way that things are handled after you guys deal with it. There's a protocol on how to handle issues, and it starts with the teacher and the kids, and it moves along the line. Most of the time, the teachers handle it very well. It's when it gets beyond that and it gets to the board and your bosses that things really bind up, and a lot of things get swept under the rug.
Well, that's your opinion, Paul, and getting things swept under the rug is not proper. And I'm going to close it down. I'm done listening to that part of it, so I'm sorry.
Just you being upset, you know there's something wrong.
I'm not upset, Paul. All I'm saying is we've got a board meeting to run here, and you apparently have some disagreements that are not going to be overcome tonight. I guess tonight we're not going to be able to, because it's beyond that, I guess. It's probably more personal, but we've got a board meeting to run here, so we're going to move on.
I'm out of it now, Sean.
Okay.
But the experiment has to end.
Sean, can I make a comment quickly? A very simple, quick comment.
Yes.
I think it's a shame that people like Katie, and I don't know Katie personally, she probably is a wonderful teacher, but by you guys limiting what we can say, we can't even say administration, teacher, anything. Unfortunately, it blankets all the good teachers and administrators and board members under that. So by you guys keeping it the way you have and said, no, you can't do this, you can't do that, it's unfortunately included everybody, and it is not everybody. It is a select, small number that is affecting our school. And we're saying that if you don't stop it now, it's going to get worse. And the teachers are paying the price too. And I'm sorry that the teachers have taken it personally, because I don't think that's what anybody has intended at all.
Thank you. Okay, moving on. We got a presentation by
I just have two things real quick. My name's Pamela Colanero. I live on Lower Main Street. I just wanted to let you know that I went to the town library to look at some of the high school yearbooks. And the last yearbook that was brought there was 2003. And I was wondering if we could reinstate giving a yearbook to the library every year. I think that was a great practice. So I wondered if the school board, the administrators here could help that to be reinstated.
Okay.
Okay. And then I also wanted to comment on the last meeting when a student stated that her years were very happy here at the high school. And I think that's great. I think she's a wonderful young woman. But wouldn't it be great if all students have that same opportunity? And that's why I'm here, is I just want things to improve. It's not about bashing teachers. I love a lot of the teachers here in the school. I know there's quality education going on, and there's a lot of positive things. I just want an equal playing field for all students.
Thank you. Move on to the presentation, and I think we'll start with, you want to start with Jody? You want to start with Jody?
So I have a handout that's being given to the board members, and there are copies in the back for the public. And what I've done is I've broken down our testing results on the Smarter Balanced and the Science and ECAP test from last spring. The Smarter Balanced test was taken in students in grades 3, 4, and 5. There was a math portion and an English language arts portion. The testing window was a long one. It was about 12 weeks long, and certain grade levels took the test at certain times. So we did have some students, our 5th graders, started taking it beginning of April. And I think the last class, 3rd graders, took their last test sometime mid-May. As you can see on the first table, I've broken it down by math proficiency level and ELA proficiency level. Our Sunapee percent proficient versus the state, RGAP plus or minus, and then the SBAC projection was what the Smarter Balanced Consortium determined would be the proficiency rating based on field tests that were given previous years. So as you can see, in most cases we've done well above the state proficiency levels and significantly above what was expected by the Smarter Balanced Consortium. We do have a couple of concerns which I will address at the end. The second table compares Sunapee's results versus comparable schools in New Hampshire. And the comparison is down at the bottom. I've compared our scores to Moultonborough, Dunbarton, and Marlborough. Similarly sized schools, similar cost per student. Free and reduced lunch rates varied. That's basically our poverty indicator. So that data is at the bottom, but again, in most cases we did as well or better in terms of proficiency for those comparably sized and demographic school locations. And then lastly, the Science and ECAP, which is taken by our 4th grade students. Again, we had a 60% proficiency rate versus the state, which was 48% proficiency, and compared to those other school districts. While we would like to improve on 60%, we don't think that 60% is where we want to be, and we are putting things into place to improve that. We're working to revise our curriculum, moving towards next generation science standards. We're looking at our curriculum maps to make sure that what we are teaching is addressing those standards, and there aren't gaps in what we're doing. So, a couple of things. Our 3rd grade scores, our 3rd grade proficiency was not where we would like it to be. We did notice when the students were taking the test last spring that they did not have the keyboarding skills necessary to produce the amount of written response that was required by the test. There was a lot of hunting and pecking. They just didn't have the ability to produce extended written responses. We've addressed that already. We have moved our keyboarding program to start now in kindergarten, developmentally appropriate, getting them used to the keyboard, the mouse, navigation. So that should help get our 3rd graders more ready for the amount of output they're expected to have for this test. Questions? Yes.
Is the NECAP, I should rephrase that, is the Smarter Balanced going to replace the NECAP?
The Smarter Balanced ELA and math replaced the NECAP, ELA and math. They haven't developed a Smarter Balanced science assessment at this point, so we're still using the NECAP ELA.
And how did you, I read that state-wise, the Smarter Balanced scores were lower than the NECAP. Did you find that to be true?
Yes, definitely, and we expected that. It's a different test. It does require a lot more in-depth understanding and being able to provide evidence or rationale for opinions, pulling things out of text to explain your answers. So there was a lot more in-depth that was going on with this test. We expected that the scores would be lower than our previous scores had been on the NECAP.
And is there any concern about, and there are several school systems that are hesitant to adopt the Smarter Balance and would rather have the DCAP. Do you have any insight into what some of these preferences are or would be and why?
Well, I mean, it's a rigorous assessment, but I think we did well on it out of the gate. I think that's a testament to the level of education that we're providing here. And so I think it's actually a valuable assessment to really, notch it up a little and make sure that our students are where they need to be college and career ready.
And just to build on for a second, the Smarter Balance test specifically is covering the Common Core standards. And so our shift in curriculum has been to focus on Common Core standards. And again, it wasn't a major adaptation, but it was an adaptation. And so the NECAP was not testing the Common Core standards. So there are different assessments. And so as far as if we're going to be teaching our kids based upon these standards, then we should be assessing among those students as well.
Anybody have any questions?
Thank you.
Thank you, Jody. Sean?
So unlike the elementary school takes the test 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade, we take it in 6th, 7th, 8th, and 11th. So what I've shared is the proficiency levels for each grade in both English and math. I've also included our NECAP science results, which were taken by our 8th and 11th graders. We actually met with all our students the Tuesday before Thanksgiving just to celebrate with them. We were very pleased. One of the things that we really do like about this test is that everybody takes it. So it's really an accomplishment for everybody. I'll just try to briefly go through the numbers. As you can see, our proficiency levels exceed the state standard in every category and every grade. As you look, usually it's in double digits. So, in the 6th grade, math, we were 74% proficient. 7th grade, 78% proficient. 8th grade, 59%. And 11th grade, 57%. You can see just the discrepancy on that. I know we have some teachers here in the audience from other schools in New Hampshire, and I think one thing that hasn't been publicized enough is just how well New Hampshire did compared to the whole country. And so typically at the top or near the top when you look at, not every state took it, but probably 15 to 20 states have taken it. And most of those states are doing a lot to really, I don't want to say, to celebrate would be a good word, how well they felt they did. And so anybody here from a different school in New Hampshire, I think it's just nice to know how well the state did as a whole. And we're comparing ourselves to those state averages. If you look at the NECAP results, a lot of times you can look at, boy, we had no kids proficient with distinction. And then you look at the state average was 1%. So it's very telling of it's a very difficult test. Again, at the 8th grade, the proficiency level wasn't what we would like it to be by any stretch, but still better than the state average. In the 11th grade, our proficiency level was essentially close to double the state average on that. And what becomes important as well, when we know it's a difficult test, we look at who's close to proficient on a tough test. And as you can see there, the numbers are quite strong. For the school board, I've just shared a few things. From the 6th grade perspective, 139 schools took the test. And in reading, which was one of our weaker areas, but even then, we were 51st in the state, where the average was 76th. We were 5th in math. In total, we were 15th out of 139 schools on that. In the 7th grade, you can see the English language arts. There were 125 schools reported. Some of these 7th graders were 8th in the state of 125. They were 3rd in math. They were 5th overall. As you look at the 8th grade, it says a lot about the students, the parents, the teachers, just very strong. The 8th grade, 41st in language arts, math was 25th. Combined, they were 33rd out of 129 schools in the state. And then as we look at the 11th grade, there were 81 high schools who took the test. Sunapee had the best reading scores in the state. As a school. They were 5th in math, I believe, 6th in math, is you look at the combined proficiency. So we're looking for proficiency here. Out of 81 schools in the state, Sunapee had the third best proficiency rate in the state combined. So, just very proud of the kids. Very proud. I mean, these scores are also an indication of how much work's done at the elementary school. We've seen a big difference where they put math programs in, and that's very. We can really see the progress that our students have made on that. So just really happy for everybody on those. So really pleased with everything on there. The Smarter Balance 11th grade test is going away. So we did 1 year on that, and they're going to have all of the students do the SAT moving forward. But I think that we will do well on that when every student takes it. Right now, some years we have better than state average, sometimes it's lower, but I always believe we have a higher percentage of kids who, even though they're not always great test takers, they're motivated. And so I think a lot of times you have a lot of students who take that. So just proud overall of the teachers, the students, and the parents. Everybody plays a big part of that. So really good scores this year.
Very good. Nice. Applaud you all. Well done, and pass that along to everybody in both schools. Let them know that we appreciate their hard work and everything they do as far as putting this together. Good stuff. Okay. Again, thank you. Okay. Good news. Do you have anything going on other than that right there? That's pretty much tops the cake.
I know, that's the best
I don't think
news.
we really need to go into anything else, do we?
There's other stuff we can talk about. So today, a couple of our staff members, Heidi Doyle and John Reed, presented at the Krista McAuliffe Technology Conference down in Manchester, which is a pretty big deal. They presented on iBeacons, which I have no idea how they work. You'd have to get that from John Reed. But apparently, the students use these iBeacons things we have to access information. They book trailers about things in the library, so that was pretty cool. Our holiday concert is coming up on Wednesday, December 16th at 6:30, so we'd like to invite the board and the community to attend. We had a very successful book fair and ice cream social last month. Through sales and donations, every child received a new book from the book fair, and each classroom received books from their wish list. The PTO also raised over $150 on the ice cream social. I personally scooped about half of those. And we want to say a special thank you to Sanctuary Dairy for donating the ice cream. That stuff gets hard. And next week, the Hour of Code is a global initiative to get more kids interested in computer science through learning computer code. So all of our students, K to 5, will be participating in coding activities next week.
Thank you. Middle school or middle high? Or?
Yeah, we can do both. Doesn't ever get slower. Always lots of things going on. After our last meeting, November 6th, we had a Veterans Appreciation Breakfast, and we had 55 veterans from the community come. It's really turned into a very nice event. A number of students and Mrs. Reed helped a great deal. Serving breakfast, having the veterans share some of their stories, and we're able to celebrate them. It's really a good day overall. We started with that, and then we ended with a volleyball championship. So the volleyball team won a championship November 6th. So fantastic job. Rachel's on that team. Moulin Junior. Our fall drama production was very successful. Great crowds, particularly the opening night. We just kept on bringing more chairs and more chairs. So lots of people came. It was a very enjoyable evening. Kids did a great job on that. Last night we had the middle high school winter concert / art show. Again, fantastic work by the kids. We had over 200 people attend. We had more than 60 students involved in it. So just a very nice night. This Friday we'll do our first quarter honor roll trip. So all the kids who make the high honors and the honor roll, the guidance has really tried to put some fun activities together for them, and so they will go to Northern Stage to see Mary Poppins on Friday. The last meeting we had a couple questions about whether we would do cross-country ski team. Some of the sports we really have to gauge interest. We did have enough people doing that, so we are going to run cross-country, and we're in the process of hiring a spirit coach right now. Did I forget? Okay. Very well.
Excellent. Great. Sarah, special ed.
I just wanted to mention we've been actively cross-training people. We were talking about this earlier tonight. And we've been fortunate enough to have 4 of our staff members, 3 of which are gen ed staff members attending in a special ed assistive technology training that we've sponsored regionally. And that has gone extraordinarily well.
Very good, thank you. Rachel, would you like to bring anything forward? Is there anything that you want to update us with? Everything's good? All systems go? Okay, excellent. Okay, we will move on to the superintendent update.
So first, I obviously want to reference and congratulate the students in both schools for the job well done on the Smarter Balance scores. Given the first year of any assessment, you're obviously a little nervous going into it, and you're wondering how your hard work has paid off over the last 2 years, trying to get curriculums up to date, teachers up to date, and just commend the students, and as Sean said, the teachers, the community, the parents. Those scores, as Sean said, are indicative to everyone's hard work, everyone's really dedication to ensuring that our kids are getting the best education we can provide for them. So congratulations to both schools. With that said, I understand that I heard very loud and clearly that there are some issues that this school has. All schools have issues. There's not a school that is in this country that doesn't have issues. We listen as a board, I listen as a superintendent, and we're going to take some steps and we have taken steps to address some of those things. One of the things that I heard was the bullying issue regarding students. We'll be inviting Malcolm Smith. Malcolm Smith was instrumental on initiating the bullying law that actually is in effect in the bullying policy of the state of New Hampshire. He works with the consortium at UNH. He will come up and spend a day with our students, spend a day with our staff, and come and do a community event as well at night to talk to us about being civil, being kind, about bullying, about what's going on, not only in the state but around our country, and actually introduce a middle school curriculum that if we have interest in, we could pick up and run through our middle school. I also heard that we're a public school, and we open our doors to all kids. It's our job to make sure that any child that walks through our door has an opportunity for an appropriate and adequate education. We send our teachers off to many different professional development opportunities. Our teachers take endless workshops and courses, and they go do things that you heard a little bit about the cross-training, but we have multiple teachers that have multiple certifications, sometimes 2, if not 3, if not 4. And they have a certain amount of hours they have to get to maintain those certifications. And we have kids that walk through our door with different problems every day. And it's important that we continue that training so that we can do what it is we need to do for those kids. And so that's one of the things that I want you to know, that not only have we always taken a hard look at it, but we'll continue to take a hard look at it. We monitor that. There's a whole system in which we monitor teachers' hours and teachers' professional development. The last piece, in my tenure here, my third year now, there has been no one that's been sent out under my tenure here. And as a matter of fact, there's been more kids that's been brought back to the school. With the help of our special education director, we've started self-contained programs. We have brought more kids back from other schools that they were at to try to bring them back, to try to give them a proper education here, because we feel we can do it better. So again, I compliment our schools. They do great things every day. Our teachers do great things every day. It's a wonderful community. It's sad to see it so ripped apart, but I think we can bring it together. I think there are a lot of good things that go on here. I know the dedication and the professionalism that are in our schools, and just know that you've been heard, and that we are doing what it is we need to do every day to make sure that every child gets educated.
Thank you, Russ. We will move on to policies now. And the first reading on...
Excuse me, self-contained program?
It's not open to the public right now, so if you want to wait till the end, when we have our...
But it is related to an agenda item and something that was just
When
said.
we have it, not too long, like say 10, 15 minutes down the road, we're going to have another open forum, so
Right.
if you could
Right.
hold yourself to that, that'd be great. I appreciate it. Thank you. Okay, first reading, ILDA. And first reading on IMBD. And first one was non-educational questionnaires, surveys, and research, and the other one was high school credit for 7th, 8th grade coursework. And basically, it's just received. Anybody have any comments at this point? They can. At the second reading, that's when we actually implement it. So, does anybody have anything they'd like to bring forward for that? Hearing none. Oh, Matt.
By that you mean we can comment on it now, or
Yeah, we have-
we deliberate on it at the next time at the second reading?
We can, if you have comments on it now, it's fine. At the second one, we can actually deliberate on it. If there's something you want changed now, because we've actually had them, we can actually talk about it now, and Russ can actually get some attorney's views on it if we need to go that far. So this is, we can do it this time and at the second reading.
We can do it either at either?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I can look at the next one.
Okay.
It would be easier for now, so you can change it if you want to change it. It wasn't so much on the first one.
Yeah.
On the non-educational questionnaire, but on the second one.
Okay.
I was just curious as to, it was pretty short, and I just wondered, since this is something that's fairly new, correct?
Yes. What we do is educational specifications.
Right. I was just wondering, in terms of the high school principal shall approve such coursework, I didn't know if it would be a better idea, again, just a thought, if it was more of a board decision, not a school board decision, but a decision made across, and I don't know if that's something done before it goes to the principal, but a decision made by the principal, other administration, and the teachers of the specific area where the coursework is being taken.
Sure, I'll let Sean, if you want to address that.
So the one change on this, so typically what we've done for, as long as I've been here, and I would say I'm certain before that, is 8th graders for years have had an opportunity to take foreign language and algebra as an 8th grader. We've always provided credit for that. In the last few years, we've had some very small instances of 7th graders taking algebra. And we have not awarded credit for that. There's a number of reasons we haven't, but we've always struggled with it. And so one of the things that as our numbers increase, again, we just talked about the elementary and the math program. So this year we had more students take algebra as a 7th grader than we've ever had before. There's some pretty rigorous standards to that. So the best argument for them getting a high school credit is they take a high school class and they do that coursework. And so it's really three instances that we would be seeing right now that would get those courses. Foreign language as an 8th grader, and anybody who would take algebra as a 7th grader then would be able to obviously take another higher level math class.
Algebra as a 7th or 8th grader? Or?
They've always, as 8th graders, they've always gotten the credit for it. We're having an increasing number of 7th graders. For a student to take in the 7th grade, they have to score the top 5% on a nationally standardized test to take it to 7th grade.
Can I also help that, Matt? So I would say in a larger school, let's say we were split in the middle and a high school where perhaps Algebra 1 was being offered in the 8th grade. And so our kids in the 7th and 8th grade that have to take algebra have to take it without a high school teacher, because the only place we offer. So I see your question there, so we had a bigger, multiple teachers teach multiple sections, multiple grade levels.
Right.
But our Algebra 1 class is our Algebra 1 class.
And we have a fairly small pool, right? So you have to make do with what you have. I just question is, if the 7th grader takes it, why they wouldn't get credit?
Yeah,
if you took the class in math, you know what I mean?
Yeah, the reason we have in the past, and I've talked to a fair amount of students now that they're older, I use kind of the 51 and 49. The reason we've been hesitant to is, for the most part, a huge percentage of 8th graders have the opportunity to take that foreign language and the algebra class. Whereas the 7th grade, it's a very small number. It's not open to a lot of students. And we have struggled a little bit that once they take high school classes, it does impact their grade point average towards high school and all those things. And frankly, I think sometimes kids worry about that too much as it is. And so, do you put that pressure onto a 7th grader now? So those would be the reasons I'm hesitant to do so. It's hard to get away from they're taking a high school class with other high school kids. And so that would be a good reason to give them the credit. But that would be the reason why you might not.
Well, might not take the class or might not get the credit. I guess
Might not get
again, when I'm reading, I'm just not.
Yeah. Either one might not take the class, or might not take the class, or if they did, they might not.
If they're not going to take the class, then obviously you don't get the credit.
Yeah.
But if you take the class,